One of the older foundation pieces on this Montreal Canadiens franchise is Brendan Gallagher. Will he have a bounce back year, given the fact the last couple of years have not been the greatest hockey for him, given that he was banged up? What do you think, guys?
I think it's almost impossible that he doesn't bounce back. I see 20 goals from Brendan Gallagher this year, unless he gets injured and takes a big chunk of time out of his season. Because let's face it, over the last 4 years before last season, Brendan Gallagher was number 2 in the entire NHL in even strength goals per 60 minutes played. Number 1 was Austin Matthews. And the gap actually isn't that large. He is a demon out there at even strength. His power play numbers have never been great, but last year he scored 5 on the power play, 1 goal at 5-on-5. All last season, he shot 1%. Overall, he shot under 5%. Career average is a little bit over 10 if you take out last season. So he's not a great shooter, but he gets to the areas where you need to get to score goals. If you're not a great shooter, nobody works harder than Brendan Gallagher. He's healthy this year. I think he scores 20 to 25.
I'm really hopeful that he obviously stays healthy, because he's had an awful run of things just like snake bit every time he turned around, trying to get himself, dusted off and feeling good and healthy. I don't think he's going to achieve his career high 33 goals that he had before, but he's going to he's going to contribute. I don't believe I don't believe that he's obviously as good as what he was a few years ago. But one thing remains the same. There's a guy that you want to have on your team, because each and every night this guy's coming at you and he's going to make things happen no matter what he has to do. And talk about character, talk about guys that you want to have in your dressing room. He's the guy you want to have in your dressing room, because a lot of guys feed off of that.
Yeah, as Andrew, you mentioned, nobody works harder on the ice than Brendan Gallagher, and nobody works harder training in the summer than Brendan Gallagher. But the last 2 summers, he couldn't. We'll go back to the bubble playoffs. He had that broken jaw that he suffered in the playoffs. That screwed him up as far as the summer. Then last year, after the Stanley Cup final, it's a short summer, and he was so banged up, he didn't have time to go through his summer training routine either. The bright spot about the Canadiens not making the playoffs last year is Gallagher had a long summer, so he was able to just take a break to start. Take some time just away from the ice and let his body heal that way, and then get into a real rigorous training program with his father, who's a well-known hockey trainer. And he's healthy now. And people forget, a couple of seasons ago, he had the longest Ironman streak on the Canadiens. It was like 250 games or something before he suffered a concussion. So despite the way he plays, the physical style, he's been able to stay healthy for an extended period of time. Some of his injuries are just fluke, the 2 shots he took off the hand and that, but he's healthy now. He's determined now. As Andrew said, I think he can score 20 goals. And if they use him in the bumper spot regularly on the power play, like they did in the preseason, maybe he can get 30 again. Hopefully for Brendan Gallagher, in Canadiens fans, he can stay healthy. The work ethic has never, ever been a question for Brendan Gallagher, no matter how banged up he is. If he can stay healthy, I think he scores 20 goals, at least.
Yeah, you think Gallagher was frustrated last season? He almost hit his career high in penalty minutes in like 30 fewer games.
And he mentioned during preseason how he hit a low for him in his career. He'd never felt that low, and he had a good conversation with Marty St. Louis about it. And Marty St. Louis is trying to tinker with the way Brendan plays. He says he's a better hockey player. He has more ability than just going hard to the net and whacking and banging away. And we saw that in the preseason with some of the really nice passing plays that he made. So there's a lot to look forward to watching Brendan Gallagher this season.
Well, I'll say this, gentlemen. I will never survive the Brendan Gallagher workout. I can't do that workout. He's an animal off the ice and on the ice, and that's what Hat fans hope to see from him this year. And hey, if you have any questions or comments about Brendan Gallagher, leave that in the box below. Like the newsletter from Hockey Inside Out, and also subscribe to the YouTube page as well plenty of content all throughout the course of this season.